And this flight I'm going to go, the first flight I did, and subscribe, ring the bell, check out all my videos. But the first flight I did 4K 30. This one I'm going to do 4K 60 just to see how that compares. So we're 4K 60 for this flight. Also, you notice the last one, I kind of had a challenge with the gimbal wheel. You know, I could go up, but I couldn't go down. That was during the flight. It wasn't a hardware issue, but it was something that I must have inadvertently clicked within the app. So to demonstrate here, I'm going to gimbal wheel down while it's on the landing pad, gimbal wheel up. So yeah, everything's functioning fine with the gimbal wheel. The difference between, as I mentioned, between this and the first flight is that we're doing 4K 60, 4K 60 instead of 4K 30. So let's go ahead and hit record on the drone. And it's facing away from me right now, but we're gonna go ahead and get it airborne. And it's giving this reminder in the app, and I know what I'm doing, so I don't need that. But if you were a new pilot, you know, you may need that. So now we're gonna get airborne. We're gonna check. I haven't touched tap to focus. Is tap to focus a requirement? So let's go. Actually, that's interesting. It looks like the focus, at least in the app view here, appears to be perfectly acceptable. So let's focus upon a few things here. Let's see. My face, the wristwatch. Can you tell what time it is? So interesting. So I did not have to tap to focus. You hear the chirping. The chirping is the obstacle avoidance because it sees me. See? The obstacle avoidance does work. Again, the peak difference between this and the first flight is the 4K 60, 4K 60. So we're capturing at a higher frame rate. You know, one might ask, well, hey man, why is 4K 60 better or maybe not as good as 4K 30? You know, why would you use 4K 60 instead of 4K 30? Well, answer is quite simple, and I'll explain this in a way, if you're not super video savvy, that hopefully it'll still make sense. If you're using 4K 30, that means when that video's filming, it's got 30 frames per second, 30 FPS, meaning that if you download your videos into, say, Final Cut Pro 10 like I use, or maybe iMovie, or maybe use Adobe Premiere or some other video editing app, you can retime the video within post-production. So you can speed it up and or slow it down. If you're retiming a video, say speeding up a video or slowing down a video, especially slowing down, if it was captured at 30 frames per second, it would not be as crisp looking as a video that was captured at 60 frames per second and then retimed. So think of it this way, you know, you're capturing more frames per second. So if you choose to change the speed of that video within post-production when you're editing, capturing it at 60 frames per second will provide an advantage because it's going to look better when it's retimed. The disadvantage to 4K 60 is that typically you're dealing with a larger file size. So, you know, if you don't have a big memory card or, you know, that sort of situation, you know, you're going to consume more storage space more quickly by using 4K 60. So most of the time, unless I'm planning to retime, I use 4K 30, but you know, that's a matter of personal preference. So see, we're over here. I'm going to do the gimbal wheel. So let's go all the way down. So this is gimbal wheel all the way down. And then this is going to be gimbal wheel all the way up. And I'm checking my camera. I put it in the shade because it overheated earlier. Okay, it hasn't overheated yet. I mean, it's super hot out here, man. It's like 80 degrees Fahrenheit. 80 degrees Fahrenheit. So see, look at that. I mean, that thing's looking up at the clouds, man. Look at that. I mean, it'll go way up. So, you know, this camera is really, it's amazing how far down it can go and how far up it can go. That's something historically with drones. If they went up a little bit, it was a negligible amount. I mean, see right here, so this is level. This is 0 degrees right here. So I'm gonna bring it over to me. And this will provide you another visual of, let's see. See, now if I look down, I'm looking down at the grass, man. And now if I scroll up, it's gonna go all the way up to the clouds, man. You can see airplanes up there. I mean, well, way up there. I mean, we're in Class G airspace, so no worries there. But see, look at this. This is kind of cool. So I can do a pan, and you can see that that chemtrail from that airplane. See the chemtrail, and see. I mean, it's way up there, man. And I'm at about 15 feet above ground level. But yeah, that's kind of cool. So, you know, your creative options by having this camera that can look up, you know, that's going to introduce a lot of filmmaking possibilities. And that's just assuming you're outdoors. I mean, if you were flying indoors, being able to look up can provide some really unique perspectives. So, I mean, there's all kinds of things that you can do with this camera that will face up. So that is a new feature. I like that feature. I think that's something that I will get a lot of use out of. And, you know, a lot of people are like, man, why does it matter if my camera faces up? Well, start filming with it and see what kind of unique perspectives you can capture. We're going to explore, again, this is just the second flight. The difference being that, you know, that I'm in 4K 60 instead of 4K 30. The other difference being that whatever I inadvertently toggled during my first flight to disallow the gimbal from going up, I've corrected that, whatever I introduced inadvertently there. So yeah, this is the flight dynamics as one might expect from a DJI. It's just silky, man. So I mean, this is all normal mode, just like my first flight. It was normal mode. I didn't do sport mode or cinema mode. Now I'm going to do those modes, and I'm going to perform some thorough videos. Thorough reviews, so that you can see how those modes perform. But yeah, with this normal mode, I mean, for most situations, I mean, if you adjust your gimbal wheel speed, you can see, look at that, I'm gimbal wheeling down while I move forward. You can capture some really cool stuff. I'm amazed at the just the visual quality of the screen in this DJI RC. A lot of people are on the fence and they're like, man, should I get the Mini 3 Pro and just use my phone, or should I spend a little bit more and get the one with the RC? Again, everybody's budget's different. You know, everybody's use case is different. I wanted to demonstrate the top tier tech within these videos, and that's why I went for the DJI RC. And actually, I'm glad I did, because see, now I've got, look at that detail of the grass, man, what's flying low. I've got the, oh, and this is an interesting test. So I've got downward facing obstacle avoidance sensors. What if I try to, let's say, go to the ground? If I try to go all the way down, is that going to prevent it from going to the ground? Landing. Okay, that was interesting. My first flight, I didn't have something right, because my first flight I had to, we'll take back off, but my first flight to land, I had to press the H button on the controller before it would allow me to go all the way to the ground. Now I did an extended press going down, so let's say in normal flying conditions, if I'm going forward, yeah, see, it's detecting the ground there. So it was the act of performing an extended press that allowed it to say, hey man, you're trying to land, aren't you? And I'm like, yep. I'm trying to land. So see, if I just do a quick press and I'm flying over, it's not going to get closer to the ground. So those obstacle avoidance sensors are working. But if I go and do an extended press down, that's when it starts to land. I aborted the landing. I didn't want to land. Dude, we're testing this. This is field test number 2. This is flight number 2 in the field with the DJI Mini 3 Pro. So, you know, we're not getting into the granular topics yet, and we're going to. And speaking of that, any question that you have, any curiosity, comment below, because I'm looking for ideas for upcoming videos. You know, I'm going to go through a laundry list of topics that I feel could be of value. But with that being said, I want your questions, because that way I can respond directly to what you want specifically to be addressed within upcoming videos. And as a reminder, as always, if you're shopping for a drone, the DJI Mini 3 Pro, the various bundles where you're going with the DJI RC, the one without the controller, whatever you want, expand this video's description and then click the link there and you can find them all there, as well as other drones too. You know, so don't feel like, well, hey, you know, maybe you don't want a super small and lightweight drone. Maybe you want an older drone. DJI's older offerings, phenomenal. And again, you can find them all. Expand this video's description and click the link there. But I mean, this is just the latest tech at the time of filming this, and I'm loving it. I mean, I'm so far, I mean, this is low battery, return to home. Okay, so I'm gonna do confirm. I'm just doing a return to home. Let's see how well or how poorly this return to home behaves. It's going up. Obviously, I've got a safe amount of battery remaining. I got 16%. I'm in a field, a safe and responsible location. Should this lose power, nothing catastrophic would occur. So, I mean, it's in a safe and responsible location. It's actually going, did it do, I guess, oh, it does a return to home altitude. And I'm canceling the return to home. It just started ascending. Interesting. We're good with battery. We've got 14%. No reason for alarm here, so don't panic. We're good. So I'm manually bringing it down. 13% battery remaining. Everything's behaving nicely. I'm going to check my return to home settings, because it was ascending to a safe and responsible altitude, and then it was going to return home. But in this scenario, I just want to bring it back. So see right there it is. Look how easy this is to land. Right in the middle of the H. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording on the drone. I'm stopping the recording on the DJI RC. Speaking of that, check out my separate video where I explain how to record the screen within the DJI RC. That's a great value add. I just stuck my micro SD in the RC, and that enables me to record the screen. So when I'm filming videos like this, you can see the drone's camera, you can see the DJI RC view, and you can also see the face on video that I'm filming with my Sony Alpha camera. So, and hopefully it hasn't overheated, has it? No, it hasn't. It's about to. So that's flight number 2. Again, subscribe, ring that bell icon when you do to be notified when I post another video. And expand this video's description and click the link there to find where to order the various DJI Mini 3 Pro bundles, as well as other drones too. Y'all have a good day. Fly safe and fly responsibly, and be your own drone evangelist. Preach safe and responsible drone use. Hey y'all, Captain Irix Guy here. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to subscribe. It's youtube.com/Irix Guy. And ring that bell icon when you do to be notified whenever I post another video. Thanks for your viewership, and y'all have a good day.